You paid too much.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Podcasting Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall. There on the wall. Under the bottle.
Good Tuesday morning. Football is inching ever closer. In fact, week 0. We know we got Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. That'll be in Ireland, but we've got our first football games. They take place Friday night, of course, and we will talk high school football for the first time this year. Normally he'll be on Fridays, but we will talk with our coach, Glenn Rogers Jr. That will be tomorrow, our first high school football show. As that season edges ever closer, there is a new campaign that the University of Memphis is starting, and literally will start in 25 minutes. There is a press conference. It is called the Liza Light Campaign. It is to build a new soccer and track facility on the South Campus, the Billy Murphy campus. First phase will be $7 million, some of it being financed by the Liza Fletcher / Welford / Orgel family. It'll be a state-of-the-art stadium with locker rooms and meeting halls and everything else. 1,500 seats is what they want, and that's what Coach Monaghan really kind of wanted. Brooks said we could probably try to get more in there, but that would be a really good atmosphere, a good feel. 1,500 seats. Men's soccer team, I'm assuming, would play there as well. This, of course, is named after Liza Fletcher, the young lady that almost 2 years ago was abducted on a morning run, and unfortunately she was killed. And I didn't realize until just now, I knew she was a runner. I did not realize she played soccer for Brooks Monaghan, and his first conference championship team she was a part of. She played forward, and Brooks had written a letter after her passing about her ever-present smile, which lit up a room, and that is why it's called the Liza Light Campaign. So it begins somewhat officially after a 10:30 news conference today. You'll hear PSAs about it on this air starting a little bit later today. We mentioned high school football. There's a great game that is week 0. It is MUS at Bartlett. Bartlett is ranked higher than MUS this year, I believe, and this one will be at Bartlett. It'll be a terrific game. So I got to tell you, I've said this before, and I truly believe it. There is a bias in the ratings when it comes to the high school poll that's put together. The majority, it's captained out of Nashville, so Middle Tennessee is taken care of for sure. East Tennessee always seems to be taken care of, and West Tennessee seems to always take up the slack here. So I did a little counting. There were 75 poll spots. So you have 6 public classifications. Then you've got 9 Division II spots. I'm sorry, you got 3 Division II spots. They each have 5, so that's 15. So there's 75 rankings. Out of those 75, only 9 Memphis area schools are in. The best one is Class 6A. Houston's number 1, Bartlett's number 6, Germantown is number 8. Memphis Academy of Science is number 9 in 1A. That's the only one in that class. In 2A, Fairleigh is tied for 4th, the only one in that class. Class 3A, Covington comes in 4th. In 4A, Melrose comes in 8th. In 5A, Southwind comes in 3rd. So in each class, and this is like the first time this has ever happened, at least the Memphis area has one representation in the 6. And we mentioned the 3 and 6A. Of the Division 2s, Class A, AA, and AAA, Normally, Christian Brothers, MUS, they're included in these things. They're not in it. In Class A, none. In Class AAA, Baylor number 1, McCowley, these are the famous names, Brentwood, Ensworth, Montgomery Bell. By the way, all those places, you wouldn't believe the facilities. I saw Montgomery Bell Academy the other day. It's like college, better than some colleges. And Ensworth, I think, which I've not seen, I believe, and Glenn Rogers Jr. will talk about this tomorrow, that may be number 1, like in the country, not just the state. It's amazing. So the only representation in the private sector is Class AA, and that is Lausanne coming in at 4 out of 5. So 9 total out of 75 spots. Come on. They just don't know Memphis, and they cover much better middle and east, and they give them all the pre-pub. But here's the one thing I've always said. If you start high, you're not getting knocked off as long as you win. So if you start, you have a huge advantage. So it's a lot harder for these schools to make their move. And even like 1A, Memphis Academy of Science. And I think that's the one that's right there at Central and Parkway. I think that's right across from Christian Brothers University. I think that is where that is. Fairleigh at 4, they've got a chance to move up. But Memphis Academy of Science, really, at 9? How about, Covington at 4 could move up. Melrose is number 8. And they've got the 2 brothers that are coaching that team. That's sort of an interesting story, but they started 8. That's a long way to go. Southwind at 5A has a chance at 3, and then, of course, you got a lot of room with 6A because you got 3 schools in there. And then Lausanne at 4, and I suspect because it's so small, let's say MUS made a big run or Briarcrest made a big run, because there's only 5 spots in here and everything else, you got a chance to make the playoffs, and then if you make the playoffs, you make your own name. So anyway, just thought I would bring up because it always bugs the heck out of me. I don't know how many. There's a new guy that is doing the commercial appeals prep, and he's pretty ambitious. I've been impressed with some of his stuff. Even though his name does not come to me right off the top of my head. But I think he's really going to be aggressive. And then John Varlas is outstanding for the Daily Memphian. There's no question he is a high school historian. He's been doing this forever. But I don't know if he's got a vote. I don't know who has a vote in West Tennessee on these particular polls. But
that's Wendell Shepard Jr. with the commercial appeal.
He's good. I like him. I mean, he's going to learn. He's a young kid. I think he's just out of I think it's out of the out of Missouri.
Yes.
So I read his little bio when he first came in, and then I've seen some stories that he's written, and he's an ambitious kid. So I think he's going to work it, kind of the way Varlas works it. But my question is, who in this area has a vote in these high school polls that is put out by the Commercial Appeal and the USA Today Network? That I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this is not just new. This is over years. I don't believe it's ever gotten its proper due. We got some Tiger basketball news. The bracket from Maui is going to come out today, but some of it leaked out early. Looks like, I don't know how good this is, because if you get in the winner's bracket, you got more beach time. I know this from past experience. They're going to play Connecticut right off the bat, so that's not so great, honestly. But
depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, Bart Torvik has his rankings. He uses analytics, and he's pretty good. I think he's so good, in fact, that the NCAA is using his formula of analytics that will go into the grand scheme of things when they're picking their at-large teams.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this Bart Torvik rankings of the schools in Maui. Memphis is 25, so I like that. That's like a 6 seed, 6, 7 seed. We'll take that right now, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not be greedy.
No.
Take 6, 7. You got a chance to go somewhere. The number one ranked team by Bart Torvik in Maui is number 3 in the Torvik ratings, Iowa State. North Carolina is 6. Auburn is 7. UConn is 12. Then Memphis. Then Dayton at 80. There's a big difference there. And then Colorado is 116. So Memphis is the number 6 ranked team in Maui by Torvik, even though that's how good that field is.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first year that Chaminade Silver Swords are not in the tournament?
I know. I was looking forward to them.
Nah, Memphis wouldn't have gotten them anyway. You know that would have gone to North Carolina or UConn. But anyway, so now you got to play UConn in the first game. But if you look at this, that's not terrible because UConn is the 4th ranked team in this thing. Nuts. That's how good that field is. Oh, and I didn't know this. There's a new rule this year that if you play a game for charity, you can play an exhibition game against a power school, a major school. So October the 28th, Memphis is going to play in Huntsville, kind of a neutral game, against Alabama.
Yeah.
Final Four team from a year ago. Of course, they don't have some of the players, but they'll be good. But so that game will be in Huntsville for the benefit of the Huntsville Hospital Foundation. You can get tickets; they're $40 a piece. But my goodness, the teams the Tigers are playing in the preseason or the non-conference, plus now this exhibition game. I mean, it's absolutely incredible the stuff that he's taken on. We know, like, even the mid-major games are good games. The season opener is going to be against Missouri at FedEx Forum. You got a road game against UNLV. You got a road game against San Francisco. That'll be in the Chase Center, which is where the Golden State Warriors opened up that stadium, 2-3 years ago. It's supposed to be state-of-the-art. You got a home game against Arkansas State. You got a road game against Clemson, a road game against Virginia, home game against Mississippi State, home game against Ole Miss. There's still one more to be played or to be named. It's going to be like a Louisiana, somebody like that, or Louisiana Tech, I should say, because they got Louisiana Tech on the schedule. It'll be a game, I think, kind of like that. That is incredibly ambitious. Plus, which you're going to start with UConn, and then who you're going to play? North Carolina, Iowa State, Auburn, Michigan State's in there. I forgot to mention them. Colorado and Dayton. Holy mackerel! You're talking about that is as ambitious as you can possibly get. I don't think you're going to end up 15-2 and then on 13-2 and then on conference like you were last year.
Would be nice.
Be great.
You know.
Or I should say 11-2. You started 15-2 because you won your first 4 conference games, but you only play 13 non-conference and 18. That's right, 31. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, would be nice though.
Yeah. So, and I mentioned we're getting ever closer to football. Today we will shoot our very first. I'm not sure when it airs, but we shoot our very first Ryan Silverfield television show. We're only a week and a half away from the opener against North Alabama, which, by the way, is in Huntsville, isn't it? A lot of little Huntsville connections today. And I just checked, Zach, the picture of the live pictures. They're clawing away at that middle section now. So by the time this game is played in a week and a half, that whole area where the press box used to be and all those premium seats, it's all gone. It'll all be gone because it's almost all gone now.
Yes, it is.
So
we're gonna have a big hole.
Big, huge hole. It's going to be weird looking at that, right? Long passes, kicks in the air. You're gonna see it starts with the usual stands like in the corners there, right? And then nothing until it comes down. Oh, there's the stands again.
It's already weird enough to see the stadium getting renovated before the Coliseum getting knocked down or something like that.
Oh,
It's already weird.
it's
Like you see
the
you
fact
can see
that the
entire
Mid-South Coliseum is still there. I know I'm going to get the wrestling people crazy, but we got asbestos problems. When was the last time the Mid-South Coliseum was used?
Like when I was 5 or something like.
I mean, I definitely not past 1990, maybe 91 or 92. I mean, come on, it's 30 years for goodness sake. Enough. Knock it down and let's put something there that's better. You know, originally they were thinking about building a soccer stadium there.
I'm still for it.
Well, 901 FC needs it, but I don't know if they draw well enough where you can really make the argument. They had an interesting game, win 2-0 against Tulsa on Saturday night. I watched a bunch of that game on it's on Channel 5 Plus and ESPN Plus. And, you know, it was 110 degrees. I mean, I was amazed they had as many people in the place as they did. And it's a good team. I got to give all the credit to Tim Howard to begin with, Caleb Sewell now, Craig Unger, you know, who's kept the money coming in despite the fact since COVID they haven't drawn that well. But the USL Championship, which is like division, it's like AAA baseball to the MLS here. It's good. It's really good. Really skilled. A lot of players that have played up, come down. I mean, it's a great product to watch, but the USL Championship is saying you can only play in these multi-purpose baseball stadiums for another year after this. That's it. So there's got to be a plan. And at this point, there isn't a plan. I don't know what they're going to do. First of all, if they used this new stadium that Memphis is going to build, it's only going to seat 1,500. That's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Because my idea is for them to, if they want to, just, I don't know how much the Coliseum is going to cost for the soccer league, for Memphis 901 to get. But I mean, like, make this like a renovation
I want to say
project
originally it was going to be,
but I don't
like
want
10 million, 12 million, something like that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about this, but think about it. Now, included in the one that they're going to hope to build, the Liza Lake campaign here, it'll be, I think, the Liza Fletcher Welford Stadium, I think is what it's going to be called. And they're trying for the first phase of that, which would include locker rooms, meeting rooms, film rooms, that kind of thing, plus 1,500 seats. That's $7 million, and that's without land acquisition. So I don't know how much a new USL Championship type stadium, which you would build one of those and you would go, okay, we got to have 8,000 seats with the capability of expanding if we ever got an MLS team.
Right.
I mean, that's the way you got to think with this kind of thing. I have no idea how much that would really cost now. We'll have to put Joe Denk to that task next week. In the meantime, we are about to speak to Joe. We'll talk FESJC galleries, the comparison, because Liv had their tournament at the Greenbrier they finished their thing on Sunday. Kepka and Ram were the two who finished in a playoff. So what were the numbers like that all about? We'll talk that. There's the new venue court decision. That's the Disney Fox Warner Brother streaming thing that Fubo is trying to prevent. What is Fubo? Joe will have the answer to that. And the college football playoffs and the money that's set up for all of that. We'll talk all about that coming your way in just a matter of minutes. We are underway, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders, 75 years or more of building palaces in the market. Go to kengarland.com, see what I'm talking about, and know that the Ken Garland tradition continues. We're talking third generation. Ken 1, Ken 2, now William is in the fold. This is a family that just knows all about building great, great homes or taking all of the new technology and renovating your house. I call it renovation with innovation. Go to kengarland.com. Please see that great work that started 75 years ago. If you've got land, you're not sure how to utilize it, Ken knows. If you're looking for land, he's got it. If you want all the new things, the California closets, the video media room, Ken knows all about those things. He can take your existing property and modernize it. It's great. It's Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders, the only way to go. We're back in just a second. The business of sports with our man. That would be Joe Dank. He comes your way. Oh, and we end Tuesdays, as always, with the voice of the Tennessee Titans. That would be Mike Keith. We might have a kicking controversy there. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Back in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Price does not include licensing costs, registration fees, taxes, and dealer dock fee of $899.50, which are to be paid by the consumer. Silverado RG 377,592, MSRP 61,065. Dealer discount 42.74. Factory rebate 47.50. Trade assistance 1,000. Must trade in 2010 or newer vehicle. Track stock number RC 246,913. MSRP 23,395. Dealer discount 14.03. Expires 9/3/24.
Been hungry for some college football? Well, we finally get the taste this weekend. Jump in on DraftKings Sportsbook. And for all the newbies getting into the college spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. The code is HERD, HERD. New customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
It's better over here. T-Mobile has exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch. If you want to pay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Mobile. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $3 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualify new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling the entire account to continue remaining bill credits, and if you pay off device early, see details at T-Mobile.com. Hey, Jason, the main man, Marshall, it's the Volkswagen Sandy Summer Sales Event at Gossett Volkswagen on the bike. And, buddy, I need the scoop.
Randy, don't pass this one by, my man. Take your pick, 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport, just $275 a month. And 2024 Atlas Peak Edition, $5,000 off or 0.9% APR for 60 months. And remember, at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, no reasonable offer will be refused.
Remember, it's your choice, 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport, $275 a month. And 2024 Atlas Peak Edition's $5,000 off or 0.9% APR for 60 months. So ask for Jason, the main man, Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike, or online at GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
made for the athlete. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
On Tuesdays, we talk business of sports, but wait. There's going to be a change. First week of September, Joe Denk moving to Wednesdays in this time slot. Joe is amazing to me, our former GM, producer, director extraordinaire. He works fast. So what was going to be when they first announced the money that was coming from the state that the Grizzlies decided to try to take all of?
Right.
There was money that was earmarked. In fact, I think Craig Unger was one of the reasons why the state was giving that money out, to be honest. I think he lobbied for it, and then he got shut out of it, which is just a shame in some forms. But what were they giving 901 FC to build a new stadium at Liberty Park?
So, look, if you go back to the original proposal, Dave, you'll remember there was $350 million coming from the state, right? 120 went to the football stadium renovation. The remaining 230 goes to FedEx.
Right.
To
the Grizzlies.
The FedEx Forum.
FedEx
Forum, I'm sorry. But the initial plan was to build a 10,000-seat soccer stadium,
right?
As you guys were discussing just a moment ago at the Liberty Park site. But the estimated cost for that construction for that 10,000-seat soccer stadium, $80 million.
$80 million.
$80 million.
Whew. That's more than the $12 million I remembered.
That's right.
$80 million. Oy.
Sounds like it was going to be a nice place.
I'd say it was going to be. Well, you know what? They were going to use part of the Mid-South Coliseum, like a wall or something, in conjunction, so it was going to be neat. I'm sure that's with suites and a lot of other revenue stream opportunities that would have come into play. Oh, that's pretty amazing. They got a long way to go to get to $80 million.
Not to be right now, that's for sure.
And I don't see how they're going to do that. I mean, you got to figure it out now. They have the rest of this season and next year. And then by that following year, if you're to have a USL championship team in your market, you got to have your own stadium. You can't be using the baseball stadium. And I know this for a fact. The Cardinals do not like the fact that 901 FC changes that stadium over, even though it's owned by the same entity, Freund and Unger, mainly Freund. They don't like the fact, and it's really cost inefficient because, believe it or not, it's like double-digit thousands to reside that stadium every time you have to do it.
No, it's as difficult as anything. And, one of the things, if you go back to contraction, one of the key elements when the minor leagues contracted was facilities and playing conditions and some standards that had to be achieved by the home market teams that hosted these affiliated teams. So, the card, and they had troubles in the past associated with the field. Sunny days, and they could not play because the field was not.
I think there might have been one or two games that were affected, but it was not a general rule. I know this much: it would probably help because the biggest bummer is the mound, right? That's got to be totally level.
Yep.
And you got to rebuild that thing every time. So if you had one of those mounds that sunk into the ground and then come up, it would probably be. I think some of those stadiums actually have that.
They do.
But not here. All right, let's get to golf. Let's get to the FedEx St. Jude Classic. I got to tell you, Saturday and Sunday's galleries, and in particular Sunday, my gosh, those were the best galleries I can remember seeing. I'd love to talk to Jack Sammons about it again, or even Joe Tomek. They never give you a total figure because I'm not sure they really know. There's no turnstiles that you've gotten. But for those of us who've been around a long time, I'm not sure I've ever seen a gallery drape around the whole 18th hole, starting with the bend in the hub that we were at, which is midway through the hole. Literally, it's about 220 yards from the green. It wrapped all the way around to the stands that are there, the existing stands, which hold quite a bit of fans. I have no idea what the number was, but it was eye-opening.
Well, and look, that was one of those things. A lot of things started to come together. I mean, it was a good leaderboard. And then all of a sudden, the finish was extraordinarily exciting, and it was great. But the other thing was this: what was his third time for the playoffs here now?
Yeah, I think so.
Third or fourth?
I think it was the WGC event, which was a pretty big time event. And yeah, I want to say this is the third playoff event. Zalatoris wins the first one in a playoff.
Right.
That was a three-way playoff, and his ball sat up on the brick on 11. Then you had Lucas Glover out of nowhere win the second one. That was another playoff. And I saw my friend Matt Infield did a really nice interview with Lucas Glover. Did you hear how he was described, how his pants were described? Because remember, it was just, isn't it amazing, the weather? It just it upsets me. 2 weeks ago, we had this beautiful weather. This week, I woke up yesterday morning and I went, oh my gosh, it feels like fall. And then it was a steam sauna, all last week.
Right.
So Lucas Glover said his pants during the playoff were described as a bag of French fries from Five Guys. You know how they give it in a bag and it's all greasy and everything?
Yeah.
That's what his pants look like.
Oh, man. It was brutal, though. It was brutal out there last year and this year. So that's just been tough. But I do think that people are on to the fact that it is the first round of the playoffs. That gives it a little bit of date certainty and meaning. I mean, it's a big deal, right?
Well,
70 guys come.
You're getting every one of those guys. You notice in years past, and Jack Sammons talked about it with us last Friday from the event, how he had to go and try to recruit players. He and Darryl Smith and Phil Cannon before him, that was part of their job. In fact, they would use sponsors exemptions on players they thought were up and coming, like Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler. They gave them early entree in where they would never have gotten in the past, thinking they'll be loyal to us later on in life. And I think Spieth has been pretty loyal, but now it doesn't matter because the top 70 are coming. And by the way, if you want to win the whole FedEx Cup, which is $25 million at the last one, if you win it, you got to be at every one.
Right.
They've changed the way the format works, so you're always going to get your best 70.
Well, the format is interesting. Matsuyama did prevail. Here is an interesting thing, though. You mentioned Koepka and Rahm played extra holes, a playoff, in Greenbrier for the Live.
Who won? See, that's how I'm a golf guy.
That's right.
I don't know who won.
So Koepka won in a playoff on the first hole.
Did it matter? Because he's already got his money.
But he won more money for winning that tournament than Matsuyama won for winning here.
What?
Koepka
Matsuyama won $4 million.
He won. Matsuyama won 3.6. It's reported.
No, I thought it was $4 million.
Magazine I checked this morning. Koepka won $4 million at Greenbrier. So it's either a push or a slightly more.
I'm pretty sure it was a push. I thought it was a $20 million purse with a $4 million winner.
It was. Both had $20 million purses.
Okay, so I'd say those are even.
Okay.
And
that's the only thing that's even about those two events.
Right.
It's the birth.
How many people were there? What were the TV ratings
Exactly.
at the Greenbrier for the Live event?
So here's an interesting thing. Unable to get any national numbers yet. But here's what happened in Memphis.
If you don't mind me, let me point this out. One of the reasons, really, the main reason we're moving you to Wednesdays is because ratings come out Tuesday night. So we'll have a better opportunity to get a clearer picture on Wednesday of really what the ratings are all about.
Exactly. That's right. But I did check in terms of how the tournament rated in Memphis on Sunday, okay?
Oh, good.
The FedEx event, the playoffs, did. Now, this is interesting, but it did a 2.3 household rating here in Memphis. The Live match on the CW did a 0.3. Now, let's give you first of all, that's almost 8 times the rating for the PGA Tour event.
Right.
And just for perspective's sake, there are 634,000 TV households in the Memphis TV market. So a 2.3 equates to just under 15,000 households in the market. The 0.3 comes out to be just under 2,000. So again, about almost 8 to 1. But nevertheless, you think about that, and a 2.3 rating simply means that's 2.3% of all of the TV households in the market.
Right, and think about this. You had way more than that at the tournament. So those people might be watching golf if they weren't out here, and they don't count those because it was on TV at the arena at the venue. They don't count those TV sets.
Well, listen, one thing that I found really interesting, I told you earlier that I heard your interview last week with Jack, and he said their research shows now that the on-course attendance at this tournament is over half comes from outside the market than from within the market.
Sure.
So it still goes back to a theme that we continue to kind of chat about here is what will Memphis fans pay cash money to attend? And at
there's
what
expense
levels?
to it.
But at what levels?
Right. So let's go over that for a second.
Yeah.
I know two numbers that I can give you right off the bat.
Right.
Okay. The grounds, just a one-day pass to get in to walk around, $45. To go into the Ultra tent, which is on behind the 11th green, it's a good place. You get all the liquids you can drink of all kinds, but you got to pay for food. The price to go in there every day is $250. Now, I don't know what it would cost to go into the FedEx tent because that's FedEx pays the tournament for that, but I'm suspecting it's higher than $250 a person.
And you may not be able to buy that on the
right.
You can buy the Ultra, as I understand. You know,
Yeah, you
as
can.
a public buying that ticket. A lot of those other facilities.
Yeah, I sat next to a guy from Pennsylvania who's a doctor.
Right.
And he picks a tournament every year, brings his son, and they go, and he's on the youngest side, kid's 9 or 10 years old, so they want him to, he needs to be in a place he can go and sit down and be cool.
But a lot of the other facilities along the course, the really nice ones and the bigger tents and the pavilions and the air-conditioned areas, I mean, you can get in as with an invitation from one of the sponsors who's purchased a package that has a lot of those. But there's no question. I mean, it would be interesting to see the breakdown of how many people actually laid cash, $45, to walk the course.
Oh, let's just say there were 20,000 there. I'm going to tell you 18,000 paid.
Okay.
I would bet. I don't think they have more than that. I mean, give away freebies on that. I think they're pretty selective about that. And they've gotten more and more selective as this has become a bigger and bigger event.
Right. I wasn't suggesting that they're giving it away. I was just wondering how many, the demand.
Oh, yeah.
The actual demand for a cash-paying sports fan to buy a ticket to walk the grounds.
Well, and what's their limit? Honestly, because I don't know how many more. I imagine you could have gotten a few more in there, but I don't know how many more you could get in there on Saturday and Sunday, certainly on Thursday and Friday. I know you don't have this because I'm told that the Live tournament in Nashville was pretty successful. Now, that was the week after Bryson DeChambeau won the U.S. Open and he was playing, so that was big. But I'd be curious, do you have any idea as to what the number of people were at the Live tournament where Koepka and Rahm played in the playoff, what kind of numbers they had?
This week's
I'm not talking about the TV numbers. I'm talking about attendance. Do you think there's any way that they can be making any money?
No. No. Never. I mean, think about what they've paid guys for guarantees.
I know.
They paid $20 million last weekend. What can their gross be since they began?
Now, and that's $20 million that they're paying out to the players for this week. So Koepka got $4 million, but that doesn't include whatever the 3-year deal he signed. Let's say it was $150 million. That's $50 million he's already made for this year.
Look, it was done for reasons other than creating an alternate tour. It was they were trying to consolidate and. Look, as you said, the commissioner was here last week and suggested that is years away, not weeks away or months away. So I'll never, fortunate to me, Because wouldn't Sunday have been better if we'd have added Rom and Koepka to that board?
And DeChambeau.
And DeChambeau.
And Cam Smith. Those are the four
That's
guys.
what I'm saying.
I don't care about Mickelson. I don't care about Dustin Johnson.
Right.
Those guys are well past their prime. But to see Cam Smith, who's not having a great year, Rahm, by the way, is not having a great year, but Rahm and DeChambeau and Koepka, those are still names that are big, huge names, as you could tell, because they're competing in the majors. Those are the guys that I would love to
see him here.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
And Bubba Watson, who I could care less about seeing, he did have one great statement, and that statement was, Scotty Scheffler, who's now made $30 million this year, $30 million, just that has nothing to do with anything but earnings. $30 million, he said he ought to be thanking Liv, and he's right.
Absolutely true. I mean, that's the tour's restructuring as it relates to purses and player rewards is the direct result of the existence of Liv.
I'm so glad we did all this research on the college football playoff setup and this new venue court decision because we can use it next week because we're out of time.
I understand.
Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. Got to take a break. When we come back, we will chat with our good friend. That would be the voice of the Titans. That would be Mike Keith. He comes to your way in part by Family Leisure with the world's biggest spa sales going on right now. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. The spas start at $28.99. Cold plunges, the newest thing to get your circulation going, under $4,000. Swim spa starting at $17,499. Yes, special financing's available at the biggest spa sale ever at Family Leisure. Back in a minute. To Nashville we go momentarily.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Country music singer-songwriter Kylie Morgan loves her rain from Genesis Times. It's something simple with the song that I love. That's exactly what we do. And then we dress up the wedding bands, got a fire and passion looking around in there. You definitely enjoy it. I came to choose the way. Please leave Beyonce joining with Genesis because of the reputation, the quality, personal service, and of course, the I'm so pressure to my sensation bridesmaids. At least 1,000 DMs asking from the future brides what I got my ring when I worked with pleasing clients. So I just looked at me as a person to ask. His advice to all those girls. Since my marriage experience, Genesis Times,
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus by August 29th, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience. Or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your app fee waived through August 29th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Are you looking to save on gas? Well, we got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike with 41 and Beachy Highway and your new 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $37.99 to its side. Or how about a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite with 0% APR available for 48 months? Or get 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month, $49.99 to its signing. All 24-month lease. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online 24/7 365 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Acquisition fee $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. mileage. Forte RE794066, MSRP 21820, EV9 R60 MSRP 61035. Lease terms include all rebates and incentives, and PF 695 includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 8/31/24. Dealer stock only.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Back to Wolo and friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
We always end Tuesdays now talking to NFL with the voice of the Tennessee Titans. That would be Mike Keith. Mike, I want to talk something that we don't talk a lot about with football. We talk offense and quarterbacks and defense and edge rushers. We don't talk special teams. Third of the game, as has been pointed out in many a coach's meeting that I've had. And in particular this week, kickers. Because there's some stories here, especially with the Titans. Who is Braden Narvison? 59-yarder, then a game winner from distance. I don't know what that does with Nick Folk. Have we got a kicking controversy in Nashville? Good morning.
Good morning. We do not. Nick Folk is the kicker.
Really?
Narvison is not going to beat him out. And the reason he's not is he has not been as consistent in practice as Nick Folk has.
Wow.
And as you know, for being around coaches your entire career, they want a kicker they can trust. And the kicker they most trust right now is Nick Folk, because as they grade every day, Nick Folk has been more convincing in that regard. Now, does young Narvison have a chance to make another team? Does he end up on a practice squad? Does he have an NFL future? David, he does.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no question that Braden Narvison has a future, but his future as it stands right now is not going to be the Titans kicker on September 8th in Chicago.
How does that sit with Titans fans who just watched him hit a game winner and a 59-yarder?
Well, that's a good question. When you consider that, though, they don't take a vote.
Right.
And so that's the hard part. But we did Brian's first radio show last night, Dave, and I asked him that very question. I said, why are you so resolute every time you talk that Nick Folk is the kicker? He said, because we see him every day. And we know what we're grading every single day. And so that's what it comes down to. It's one of those situations like in school, sometimes the teacher knows more than the parents based on the full look at the syllabus or the full look at the class or the full look at the student or the course. And that's where we are right now. But I don't think there's any question. This kid, does he end up on at least a practice squad somewhere? You bet he does.
Yeah, well, if I were the coach or an owner of a team and I didn't have a kicker that I knew about, and I just saw this guy do this in a game, the 59-yarder was to take the lead, and then the game winner at the end, obviously you win if you kick it, and if you miss it, you lose. And he knocked them both. I mean,
the 46-yarder at the end was right down the middle.
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, he's a guy, he kicked at Iowa State for 2 years.
Yeah.
He kicked at Western Kentucky for 3 years. Then he kicked at North Carolina State. So, I mean, he's played in 57 games.
Why
did he keep 25?
Here's the thing I wonder about when I see that, because I saw that in the story. I'm going, why did this guy keep moving? He was the CUSA Kicker of the Year at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had some success at Iowa State. Why would you keep moving?
I wonder, did he get NIL money maybe to go to NC State?
Well, that's a good answer, buddy. I keep forgetting that's a part of the equation now.
Yeah, maybe he did. And, maybe he wanted to visit Raleigh. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to your question, but it is fairly asked, and it is why you have been doing it for so long.
All right. I've been watching NFL football since I was a kid. My family had season tickets to the Bears games at Wrigley. So since 1960, one of the most amazing advances in terms of just skill level are kickers.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring this up for a couple of reasons. I'll get to the main one later. But Brandon Aubrey kicked a 66-yard field goal that ties the record. I don't know if it's an exhibition game, if it counts or not. But 66 yards is the NFL record. The range, they say, that Brandon Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker, who, by the way, was an MLS soccer player 2 years ago, is 72 yards.
Yeah.
At 66, if you get to the 50-yard line, you're in field goal range. I mean, that's incredible, the advancements of kickers. They've just gotten stronger. I don't know. I can't explain it. Can you?
Well, I think the snappers are better. I think the holders are more consistent. Part of it, too, is now one thing that has come into the game in the NFL that has enabled kickers to get better is when they went from other position players being the holder to the punter being the holder.
Right.
You remember Charlie Waters used to be the holder for the Dallas Cowboys when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Theismann was Mark Mosley's holder in Washington. And, Joe Montana was the holder for Ray Wersching in San Francisco. But fundamentally, we have consistently gotten the ability to see these guys have all of the little things become more honed. A lot of these guys are soccer players who have big-time legs, and that's different than the guy who, he was a kicker on the high school team, even though he played two other positions, and then he gets to college, and he's the kicker, and, he refines his game. Now they're refining earlier. And I think with better snappers, like our snapper, Morgan Cox.
Memphis kid.
It's crazy. I mean, Morgan Cox will be able to do this as long as he wants to do it. He's 38 now. I mean, if he wants to be 48 doing this, he will be able to do it. Don't know that he's going to want to, because he's going to want to come back to the Memphis area and do things there with family. And I get it. But he is so good. He's going to be paid well over $1 million a year to do this as long as he wants, because the snaps are perfect.
Yeah.
And that part of it contributes to all of it from the timing standpoint.
Other than the backup quarterback, the long snapper may be the best deal. I'll give you an example. I'm pretty sure these numbers are right. There is a retired broadcaster in Memphis. He's actually a commercial real estate guy, but he played basketball for the U of M. I know you know him. His name is John Albright.
Sure.
John's brother is Ethan Albright,
Yes.
who was a long snapper for 19 years in the NFL, and he never got hit hard.
Well, and even less so now, because you cannot can the center anymore.
Right.
You can't can the long snapper. That rule is you can't hit him. And now Morgan will go down and cover a punt, and he'll make a tackle on a punt. I mean, he's totally willing. He's still a football player, but in practice, nobody hits him. I mean, he doesn't even stay out for the entire practice anymore. I mean, the kickers, when I started in the NFL, the kickers would be off to the side, but they would be out there the entire time that the football team was, Now, they're not. They go out, they do their thing, they're involved in the team period, and then they go in, and they train. These guys are, have you seen Justin Tucker? Justin Tucker for the Ravens is one of the best-looking athletes you'll ever see.
He is.
And he's an athlete. And these guys, it's not Tony Frisch anymore. It's not these guys who are, they're on the sideline smoking a cigarette, and then they go in and kick a field goal. And it was that way, when Al Del Greco didn't smoke cigarettes. There were still players on our team who smoked cigarettes when I got here in '98, but that In the movie The Replacements, the kicker was smoking a cigarette.
Right.
And that was actually realistic. People did do that. And now these guys are the most refined, incredible athletes. You think they're tight ends or they're defensive back, they're safety or a linebacker. And that's where this has come from, is they are real live athletes who are very special.
Got some numbers on the new kickoff rule. We're going to have to talk about that next week. Your starting position now is about 4.5 yards further at the 28-yard line. They're talking about a touchback at the 35. That would be crazy, because if Brandon Aubrey's your kicker, you get one first down, you're in field goal range. So
that's right.
But we'll talk a little bit about that next week. Have a great week, and I look forward to our conversation next Tuesday.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. That is Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, and he's brought to you by Memphis Public Golf. I'm talking if you played the new Audubon yet, because if you do, you'll be blown away. Same way I'm sure you were blown away by the new Pine Hill, and now you'll love the new clubhouse at the new Pine Hill. I know you love what they did at Overton Park, and now that's as cool a 9-hole golf course as there is in the country. Look what they did to Galloway. I guess that was about 8 or 10 years ago now. They understand in this city, golf is an amenity, and they have made it quite the amenity. Still reasonably priced. By the way, you can still walk these golf courses, too. They're built for walking. It is the great pleasure to have great golf courses in your city. Memphis has so many of them. Go to memphispubliclinks.com and make your tee time. That'll do it for us for today. Tomorrow we make golf picks and a whole lot more. We'll sort of put a bow tie on the FedEx St. Jude Classic. Johnny and Mickey will join us. We'll see you then. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.